focus this week. Just realized that my closet doors are open here. I'm going to shut those first. Oh, things in the way. Our focus this week is on the second principle of alignment, our muscle energy. And so we'll get a little stretching in before we get into the muscle energy aspect of things, just because where I'm going to go with that has a little bit to do with the core, but our core work is going to be on our backs today. So take a moment to find a comfortable seat, shift your sitting bones, and then as you lengthen and sit tall, lengthen up through the back of your neck, take a couple of deep breaths, and you're welcome to add a little rolling back with shoulders or a little shifting and moving through your hips or sides for a moment. And then let yourself come to stillness. And as you come to stillness, just simply allow your breath to become a little bit more deep and full. And without really adding any extra work to this seat, just simply notice for yourself how you need to hold, what it is that you need to do in your body to help yourself sit well, to sit tall, and to have that stability and structure. And now hands come together at heart center. And as you gently press your palms together, also lift up and open through your heart. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Exhale, bow toward your heart. Then softly opening your eyes and releasing your hands down. Lift up and back with your shoulders again, lengthen up through the back of your neck. And then we'll do a little bit of movement and stretch through the shoulders, through the back of the neck, and through the back body in particular. So reach arms up and overhead, take a hold of your right wrist and do a gentle side stretch over to the left side, rooting down through the right sitting bone. And then just a little bit, draw in with the ribs. So you have a tiny bit of cat pose starting to happen through the upper back. Take a full big breath here, put your shoulder blades onto your back. Then inhale, back upright, switch wrists. Exhale, take that stretch over to the right side. Root through the sitting bone on the left. And then find that little bit of movement in with the ribs. A little bit of cat pose through the upper back. Full big deep breath. Shoulder blades are engaging. Inhale back upright, release your arms down and roll back with shoulders. And roll forward with shoulders. And now gratitude arms, find that turn up of palms, elbows hug in, and then find that rotation open through the chest with your gratitude arms. Take a full big breath as you let your heart space be lifted, your chest is lifted. Shoulder blades are engaging. And then we'll take right ear to right shoulder. On your exhale, drop your chin down towards your chest. Keep both shoulder blades hugging in. On your inhale, left ear to left shoulder. And exhale, chin into your chest. And we'll do one more time on each side. Inhale to the right shoulder. And exhale to the chest. Inhale to the left shoulder. And exhale to the chest. Stay tucked down with your chin now. Re-engage. Find that opening through the arms here in gratitude. And then shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Yes, a little to the right. And yes, a little to the left. And then back to center, relax your arms, lift up with the back of your neck, come into a tall spine. And then we're going to walk our hands forward onto the floor or onto a block in front of you. But we're going to take this to one side and then to the other side to get a little bit more stretch into the back body. So walk hands over to the right side and then let your left fingertips walk a little further forward of your right hand. Root down through your left sitting bone and then pull in with the ribs. Take a full big deep breath. Noticing that expansion all the way through the left side of your back. And then walk your hands over to the left side. Right fingertips work a little further forward. Root down with the right sitting bone. Take a full big breath as you draw a little in with the ribs. And then walk your hands back into center and come all the way upright and switch the cross of your legs. And as you come to this less comfortable place for your legs, move your sitting bones. And now we're going to either take eagle or we will take a hug. So reach arms long out to the side and plug in with shoulder blades. And now wrap left elbow over the right to either reach for opposite shoulders or to wrap your forearms around and take a hold at the bottom of your palm or your thumb. You decide what feels the best, and it might not be the same on both sides. That's okay too. Lift elbows up to shoulder height and then draw a broadening action through the tops of shoulders. Think of shoulder blades moving out to the side. Take another big inhale here, lifting up with the elbows, and then exhale, little cat pose through the upper back. Tuck your chin in. Inhale, lift up with the elbows, and exhale, little cat pose. Inhale back up to center, release the arms and roll back with shoulders. And roll forward with shoulders. And now second side, reach out to the side with your arms. Find that hug in action of your shoulder blades here. And then take right arm over the left for hug or eagle, your choice. And just remember, even if you took one on the other side, you don't have to do the same one on this side. Lift elbows up to shoulder height and broaden tops of shoulders. Take a big deep breath. And now inhale, lift up with elbows, lift up with your chest, and exhale, a little rounding in to the upper back. Inhale, lift elbows, and exhale, round in. One more, full inhale, and exhale. Then inhale back upright, release your arms, hands out to your knees, and let's just move through these circular motions of the rib cage. Exhale, press back through the ribs. Inhale, circle them out to the left side, around the front, and back on the right. Inhale, circle around, and exhale, draw back. One more on this side. Inhale, and exhale. Now inhale, circling around to the right side. Exhale, back on the left. Inhale, find that circular motion. And exhale, draw back. One more big breath. Then inhale, tall through your spine. Let's come onto our backs now. Make sure that you have blocks handy. And we're going to shift our way onto our backs for a little bit of core work. We're not going to stay here. We'll stand up and move in a bit. But for our core work, we're going to find that neutral spine that I tend to talk about a lot. Those curves through the spine that are key. So if you have a big lumbar curve already, you might not have to do much. Take your fingers on either both hands or one hand and just set them underneath your low back here. With your footprints on the ground, press your feet in and then hug in with the muscles of your legs. That muscle energy that we've been focusing on. You might even feel it all the way up into your glutes when you start to squeeze. Now tilt, sitting bones down. Untucking the tail is another way to think about that. So now, as you have that little bit of lift through the low back, again, if you already have a lot of lift, you don't have to add more. But we're going to keep that lift and engage around the core. So we're going to hug in with the low belly and then press the ribs down. As you hug in with the belly, you're trying not to flatten your low back against the ground. So take a few moments and find that where you can still put your fingers underneath your low back, but then hug in at the low belly, hug in at the ribs press into the ground, right? Because our thoracic spine needs to go in the opposite direction. So push down with the upper back, but then tilt down with your sitting bones so you still have a lift through the low back. Now grab a block and set it in between your thighs, hug in and start to lift your legs up to about a 90-degree angle. And as you do that, we're keeping engagement through the low belly, a lift through the low back, a press through the ribs. And now take the other block in between your hands, up above your chest. Now squeeze into the block, push down through your ribs, push down through your sitting bones, engage the belly. Now release it all, let it go. Set blocks down, let your knees draw in together to touch. You can take hands to your belly if you want to, or you can open it up into a cactus here if that feels good. And just take a big breath. Now walk your feet out wider than your mat and just drop twice to each side, both knees to the right, both knees to the left. One more time on each side. And now come back into center and bring your block in between your thighs. And now bring your block in between your hands up above your chest, and then lift your legs up to that 90-degree place. You might have to adjust where your block is to find it. And then find that tilt down with sitting bones, engage the low belly. Engage the ribs. Plug in with shoulder blades as you press into the block. So squeeze in with the legs, squeeze in with the arms and hands. Take a full breath here with your core engaged. And now the super awesome fun part is you're going to try to keep your sitting bones moving down, low belly engaged, ribs pressing as you start to extend your arms overhead and your legs a little bit out in front of you. Try to maintain that curve of your spine and the tone through your core, and then bring it back up. Now we're going to just do that one more time. Hug in, engage the core, but keep the curves, and then start to extend and bring it back up. And then set your feet down, set your blocks down, and then say, woo, the core part is done. Okay, so now roll over to one side and go ahead and push yourself up to your hands and knees. And from hands and knees, pause for a moment, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And as you root down through palms and fingertips, as you find that external upper arm bone rotation and a push, also squeeze in with the muscles of your arms as if you were hugging onto a block. Toes are tucked, tilt your sitting bones gently up, and squeeze in with the muscles of your legs. Keep that squeeze in and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And take a big breath and notice as you made that transition, what did you lose? Find that rotation of upper arm bones and push, lift sitting bones, hug in, squeeze in with forearms, with shins, and then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way, pause and hug in. As you extend your heart forward, also hug in around the core. Exhale, fold over your legs. And now plant fingertips onto blocks or the floor, your choice, and step your right foot back into your lunge. And from that place, center with your hips and hug in with the muscles of your legs. Squeeze and then lift up. As you center with the hips and squeeze in, lift your arms. If it feels good to take them overhead, you can. You can always take them into gratitude, but we're still going to squeeze in. Hug in as if you were hugging onto a block. Very misshapen block, but still hug in. Take a big deep breath. Lift your heart. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. And let's give our hamstrings a little bit of a stretch. or a lot of a stretch, depending on how tight they feel. Blocks under hands, work your front leg towards straight, and then push down with your big toe mound on your left leg. Wrap back with your left hip and send your sitting bones up. As you extend your heart forward, find that squeeze in action of your legs. Try to hug them to midline. Squeeze in with the muscles of your arms and with your core, but also tilt your sitting bones up. Now bend into your front knee, turn and plant your back heel. We'll bring left elbow to our knee, right hand to our hip for this side angle pose variation. As you turn open with that front knee and bend into it, turn your belly and your heart, push down with your bottom elbow, and let your ribs expand. Now squeeze in with the muscles of your legs, and then extend your heart even further. Squeeze in with the muscles of your core, and then maybe stretch, top arm up and over. Full big breath. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes and step forward. Inhale, extend, hug in with the muscles of your legs, and as you lift sitting bones and extend your heart, also tone your core. Step back with your left foot into your lunge, and then hug in with the muscles of your legs to rise up. Now with your hips centering, your heart lifting, tone the legs first, then tone the core, and tone the arms. Full big deep breath as you lift your heart up just a little higher. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat and work your front leg towards straight for that hamstring stretch. Push the big toe mound down and wrap back with your right hip. Send sitting bones up as you extend your heart further forward, trying to create a little bit of that lumbar curve. And now hug in, squeeze in with the muscles of your legs, your arms, your core, but try not to lose that tilt up of the sitting bones. Take another big breath. Then bend into your front knee, turn and plant your back heel, and bring right elbow to your knee, left hand to your hip, side angle pose. Bend into that front knee again. Just notice how much in this pose it likes to unbend. So bend it in and turn it open. Squeeze in with the muscles of your legs. Hug into the core. Turn open. Squeeze in with the core. And then maybe stretch top arm up and over the ear. Find a big push with that bottom elbow to lift the ribs. Take a full breath. Exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes, settle all the way back into a downward facing dog pose, and take a moment here to tune into how your body feels. Root palms, root fingertips. Find that rotation of upper arm bones and push from the back muscles out through the hands. As you hug in with the muscles of the arms and the legs, tilt your sitting bones up higher. And now bring knees down, hips to heels, take a child's pose. And as you find that child's pose, take a moment to do a little bit of shifting and moving. Then inhale, rise up to your hands and knees. Set yourself up again. Find that strong press, that rotation, the hug. Tuck toes, hug in from here all the way up into the glutes, and then lift hips up and back, downward dog. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. Hug in with the muscles of your legs, tilt your sitting bones up, extend your heart forward. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips. Press back on hips, lift up with shoulders and elbows to rise all the way up to stand. So now we'll take some balancing poses. And as we notice that hugging in action of our legs, you get to notice for yourself where that balanced action is of hugging in so much that it actually tips you over, or not hugging in at all, so much that it tips you over. Okay, so there's that balance, and sometimes you just have stuff going on in the body that tips you over, so it's okay too. So you get to notice that for yourself today. Find your balance onto your right foot, and we're lifting our left knee up into our hand. So you're holding on to the left knee with your left hand, right hand at your hip. And from this place, hug in with the muscles of your legs. Try to squeeze them in toward each other. Yeah, lift your chest. And as you squeeze muscles in toward each other, see if you can notice, if you completely release the squeeze, what happens? And if you squeeze really hard, what happens? And then find that midpoint of just enough to hold you. Yeah, good. Now open the knee up. Turn it open to the left side. Still hug in with the muscles of the legs. Lift your heart up. Maybe stretch up with that right arm. And then tone muscle to bone on your lifted arm. Tone muscle to bone on your arm that's holding your leg. Yeah, tone your core. Take another big breath. Inhale back into center. And exhale, foot back down, shake it out. Hip opening on the second side, so left foot balances. Right knee lifts in toward your chest. And from that place, try that squeeze in again. Squeeze in with your legs, squeeze a lot, until maybe there's so much squeeze that it feels a little tippy. And then relax it a lot, so that it maybe feels tippy. And then find the midpoint. Hug in enough to hold. With that, turn open. And then left arm can reach if you'd like, or it can come to your hip or wherever. But keep the hug in of your legs, and then hug in with your arms, hug in with your core. Take one more big breath. Inhale, come back into center. And exhale, release it down. Turn your palms forward. And for a moment in mountain pose, even balance, Samastitihi, take a full breath and just notice for yourself throughout your body if there is some balanced energy happening, or if you feel like there's just some energy in one part of your body, or maybe feeling low in energy or high in energy. You can just simply notice what's showing up for you. And now hug into the midline. Arms, legs, core. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend knees, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen, extend your heart. Exhale and fold. Now from here, find your props. Find blocks underneath your hands. And then we're going to lift our torso so that you're stacking wrists underneath your shoulders. And then go ahead and lift your right leg behind you. So we're coming into a warrior 3 variation here with blocks under your hands. Rotate your right hip down so your toes rotate down. Hug in with the muscles of your legs. Hug in with the muscles of your arms and your core. And then if you'd like to, you can bring one hand or both hands up to your heart. Hug in with the muscles of your legs, your core, your arms. And then bring hands back down if they're lifted. Left hand comes to your block, right hand to your hip as you start to open up into your half moon pose. And you're welcome to keep your hands both on your blocks if you want to. That's okay too. But again, hug in with the muscles of your legs. Hug in with the muscles of your arms. See if you can draw the muscle energy in toward the heart. Tone the core. And then bring both hands back down, both legs back down. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Hands back up to your blocks. Pause and extend your heart. And from here, hug in again. Hug the legs, hug the arms, hug the core. And from that place, start to lift the left leg. As you hug in with the muscles of your legs, even think of femur bones on both legs, hugging into the hips. Hug muscles of the arms toward each other, hug the core. And then if you want to, you can lift one arm or one hand, maybe two hands up to your heart. Maybe they only stay for a moment, maybe stay the whole time, but hug in with the muscles of your legs, your core, your arms. Then release the hands down and find your right hand with the block, left hand to the hip if you would like. Again, you can keep it down at the block if you want to. As you start to turn your hips open, again, hug in with the legs, squeeze them in, tone the core, tone the arms. Turn open as much as your body is ready for as you stay hugging into the midline. Then exhale, both hands come back down to your blocks, both feet come back down. Take an inhale, lengthen, extend your heart. Exhale, fold as deeply as your body needs. Full big deep breath. Plant hands and step all the way back to a downward facing dog pose and take a full big inhale and exhale in and out of the nose. And then lower down to knees, push hips back toward your heels, take a child's pose. And then gently bring yourself upright to your seat. And we're gonna sit all the way down and we'll take a modified version of our forward fold. So legs out in front of you, knees bent, feet are flexed, pull toes back towards your nose, press down with fingertips beside your hips, lift up tall. And from this place, you can reach back or reach to your sitting bones and move them back and broad. As you hug in with the muscles of your legs, even think about pushing heels down and dragging them back. This sometimes helps you tilt your pelvis a little bit more. Lift your heart. Stay long and tall through your heart, even as you hinge from the hips and start to fold. And from there, you can walk your hands down the outsides of your legs, down your shins, wherever you need to go. Maybe you reach out for your toes. Maybe you don't. That's okay. Legs, if it feels better in your body to have them a little wider, you're welcome to. But take an inhale as you hug in with the muscles of your legs. Extend your heart further forward. Exhale, fold as deeply as your body needs. And from that place, if you feel like you have a little more length through the hamstrings, maybe a little more space in the low back, then you might walk your heels out a little ways. But just remember that straight legs, that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to find lots of opening through the spine and through the heart, okay? So hug in with the muscles of the legs. As you inhale and extend your heart, also hug in with the muscles of your arms. Exhale, maybe bend elbows to fold in a little bit. Upper back can round, even as you have your sitting bones tilting back, belly forward. Inhale, extend your heart. Maybe walk your legs out further, up to you. Exhale, fold as deeply as is right in your body today. Hug in. Then with that hugging in action, inhale, rise all the way back upright. Staff pose. Root your heels down. And again, you can have considerably bent knees, or you can have legs out straight. But find that tilt of your belly forward. And arms come to gratitude if that feels okay. If helping yourself sit tall is where you are today, then you can go there for sure. That's a super helpful place sometimes. Hug in, lift your heart, take a full breath. And now bend your knees and make your way onto your back. And we'll get a little bit more stretching in from our backs, not core work. We're done with that. So now, as you hug your right knee in towards your chest, you can let your left leg extend all the way out if that feels okay. And just take it a little side to side here. You can Rock the knee in and out. You can even move it forward and back here in a little bit more of that compression movement. And then as you inhale, switch sides. And again, rock it side to side, in and out if you want. Maybe switch back and forth between those two movements. Inhale, switch sides. And take right leg across your body to the left side into a spinal twist. Foot might be resting right against your leg. Maybe you have a prop for underneath your knee, or you're holding on to the outside of your leg, your choice. Next part of this is, if it feels good, you can extend your leg out long and straight to the side. Maybe adding a little bit more to the IT band stretch, the hamstring length. If shoulders are not down on the ground, if that right shoulder is popping up, then make sure to move your shoulders a little bit over to the left. Take a big breath. I have a prop underneath my calf. You can do that if you would like to. You can also keep a bent knee. You don't need to lengthen it. Big deep breath. And now bend your knee to bring your leg back into center and give it a hug. Inhale, switch sides. And then exhale, take that twist across to the right side. Right hand to left knee. And then you can decide here if you would like to extend it or keep your knee bent, your choice. You can find where that is for you today. And if you do extend it, you might find that you still have a pretty considerable bend to the knee. That's okay too. Shift shoulders if the left shoulder is popping up. Move your shoulders over to the right a little bit. Take a big deep breath. As you breathe, give a good flex to that left foot. And just notice if that adds any stretch or any sensation through hamstrings, glute, maybe SI joint area. Full deep inhale and exhale. And then bend your knee, come back into center. Give both knees a squeeze in toward your chest as you rock a little bit. And think about either in toward your chest or toward your sides. And now we're going to take a butterfly. You have your choice. You can hold on to your feet to open your knees up here so your butterfly is basically lifted. You're on your back with your legs lifted. Or you can set your feet down if that feels better to you today. That's okay. If holding the feet is a bit much. Take a big deep breath wherever that is, and we're having that intention of moving a little bit through the sacrum, moving a little bit through the hips. So your knees will move a little forward and back. Take 3 more deep breaths right here. And start to reach further out through the inner thighs toward the walls on either side of you. And then gently set both feet down. Knees are lifted. And we'll cross right ankle over the left knee and pick the legs up toward the body for a little bit more of that glute stretch. Sometimes IT bands, sometimes hamstrings. Really just depends on your own body and where the tightness is. Feet are active. Give your sitting bones a little tilt down so you're creating a little lift through the low back, right? So it's a little untuck of the tail. As you come to that place, you're trying to keep that tilt down of sitting bones even as you draw your legs in maybe just a tiny bit closer. And if your body says no there, listen to it. You don't have to pull them in any closer. And now if you'd like to add the hamstring stretch here of extending the right leg If you have a strap and you want to use it, you can always use that around your foot. You'll just have to maybe bend your knee to get it there. But otherwise, you can just keep your knee bent if that feels better. Take a big deep breath. Tilt your sitting bones down again. And now bend your left knee, set your foot on the ground, and then release your right foot down as well. Now switch the cross, left ankle over the right knee. And then as you pick your legs up as close as is right for your body, remember that your foot can always stay on the ground here. You don't have to lift your legs. Tilt your sitting bones down. Find that lightening up of the low back. Take some full big breaths here and check out what the stretch is on this side for you. Where is it showing up? As you tilt your sitting bones down, if it feels okay to try to move the legs a little closer, sometimes that deepens a stretch, sometimes that's too much of a stretch. You decide. And now feel free to add that extension of the hamstring stretch on the right leg, lifting the leg up. Full big deep breath. And now bending the right knee, setting both feet on the ground. Take feet wide, like we did at the beginning of class, and drop both knees side to side. Both knees to the left, both knees to the right. Allow that slow motion, that slow action and transition from one side to the other. Keeping that little bit of tone, creating the flex of both feet, which helps to create a little muscle energy through your legs, tone through the ankle and the knee for stability. Take 2 more big breaths here. And now as you come back into center, walk your feet in toward your sitting bones. Choose your prop. It could be a block, a bolster, a folded up blanket, whatever you need to lift the hips and slip a prop underneath your hips. Letting your hips come to rest. And for this one, we're going to drop knees in toward each other. They may or may not touch. Your feet walk a little wide. And again, you can choose. If this doesn't feel good to your body, walk your feet back in. That's okay. All right. And then if you would like, either arms reaching toward the wall behind you or a cactus. Letting eyes close if that feels okay. And letting that traction of this place of lifted hips happen with gravity. We're here for about 30 more seconds. So if you find that you'd like to add that psoas stretch, you can walk your feet back in and then extend your legs out long and straight, if you so choose. Again, if that doesn't feel good, then shift back to something that does. Full big deep inhales and exhales. Letting your breath help you discover what's there, and also let your body settle. And then as you're ready to, if your legs are now extended, walk them back in. Arms back by your sides, lift your hips up and slip your prop out from underneath. Let your hips come back to the ground. And start to find your way into your most comfortable rest. After that back bend, I often like to have a block or bolster, or rather a pillow or bolster underneath my legs. This is a little bit of a counter pose to that back bend. But really you can come to whatever variation of Shavasana feels good in your body right now. Bring awareness back to your breath. Bring some gentle movements into your fingers and into your toes. As you feel ready to bend your knees, roll over to your side, and pause for a moment for a full breath. Use as little energy as possible to bring yourself back upright to your seat. Bring hands together at heart center, and with eyes closed for a moment, you can always keep them softly open if you'd like. Take a full breath. Completely fill yourself up. Notice